So we have two members of the X-Vandals group here in the studio, and we have Walidah Imaresha, who was here last week, talking about this group. And they've got one more event going on tomorrow night, and we'll talk about that as we go through the evening here. We've got a little bit of time. Maybe we'll get to the phones in a little while as well. But I want to welcome Not4Prophet on my right, and then Johnny Juice, and Walidah.
Thanks for having us.
All right, Walidah. So what was the situation? You brought these folks to town for what purpose?
Just have respected the music individually and now collectively that they've done over the years, and really wanted to bring sort of a East Coast conscious revolutionary hip-hop group out here to the West. And Portland often gets passed over for when folks are on tour, and I think that's a sad thing for Portland. So luckily they've had the honor, Oregon has had the honor of getting to see these folks perform throughout this week. As well as speak. That's the thing, is I was saying last week that real hip hop folks put in work. They've been putting in work, running from a speaking event to doing a class to getting in the car, driving to a show to doing an interview. So really trying to hit all those aspects.
Well, Not4Prophet, how long has the X-Vandals been putting out good music?
Well, we put our first record in December, actually, and so we. He's been doing work with Public Enemy, and so I've known of him for years. And I've been doing work with an organization and a group that's called Ricanstruction Network, which Walidah, by the way, is a part of. And so anyway, coming together with the idea was to come together with what we both had been doing individually and create something and move forward with that. So essentially, X-Vandals has been around about a year.
I see. And Johnny Juice, you're also with the group Public Enemy?
Yes.
And you're branching out and working with this group here. You're also you're late to the studio because you were doing a showing of a video. Now that's the same video we showed last week, Machetero?
Yeah, we showed the trailer for Machetero. Machetero is actually screening right now as we speak. So.
All right.
Yeah, we also just finished speaking at a high school. Yeah. Some of the youth there. So
well, Not4Prophet cool. is the lead actor in the Machetero movie. So.
Oh, that's right. I think I remember seeing that. You looked a little bit different in that. So, well, that's great. I really appreciate you folks taking the time to come on the program and talk about what you're doing. It's the Machetero, I think, wasn't that about the Puerto Rican resistance?
Yeah, the Puerto Rican liberationist. Who's basically, the film is asking the questions of what is the difference between violence and revolutionary violence, and whether or not we have a right to seek self-determination and to liberate ourselves through any means necessary, and how that all relates to post 9/11 America.
I see. And you've been putting out music, you said, for 20 years or something like that?
Yeah, a little over 20 years. I mean, I've been with Public Enemy for 21 years. Yeah, I mean, you mentioned branching out, but I've worked with a lot of different groups. But there's a difference between important music and hot music, or what's
we
out.
Talked about that last week.
And the stuff I'm doing with Not4Prophet, it's important work because it needs to be said, it needs to be out there. Same thing with Public Enemy, that's important work, and obviously when you're younger, that may not be apparent. But as you know, I'm not exactly as young as I used to be. But you gain an insight over the years of working, and one of the insights that I've come to learn is that important music lasts forever. We just got inducted into the Long Island Music Hall of Fame with Eddie Money and Neil Diamond and Blue Oyster Cult. Yeah, exactly. So well, we were, like I said, we're not exactly spring chickens either. So. I'm sitting there and I'm like, well, these guys put out important music, because it's still it lasts and it stands the test of time, and that's what we try to do as X-Vandals. We're trying to create important music that hopefully future generations could look at and say that's important. That's a stepping stone for what they want to do, as opposed to just something that's real cool and makes a lot of money and then you never hear from it again.
Yeah, flash in the pan. I can think of a lot of like that, I think I just noticed the graphic. I think they just had Vandals up there. It's actually X-Vandals.
Yeah, we're former Vandals.
Yeah, we don't vandalize.
Yeah, former
We're both ex-graffiti writers.
Mm-hmm.
So Not4Prophet came up with the name of the group. So X-Vandals kind of spoke to our writing background, but that's significant in the fact that graffiti writers are one of the purest forms of anti-establishment. In the hood where we come from, it all stemmed from graffiti, and then obviously through hip hop it moved on through the spoken medium, rap and DJing and what have you. But graffiti was probably the rawest form, and Not4Prophet. So imagine the shock when they hear that a lot of countries don't like our policies, or a lot. They're like, wait, that's crazy. We're at the U.S. Well, when have you been outside of the U.S.? And with all this internet and the World Wide Web, and you still